Hey, good afternoon, Moral Medic One. Today I have a little Honda carburetor off of a GX390, and it's pretty nasty. And I just kind of want to show you the effects of ethanol on these carburetors. You can see all the gum and the varnish. These little carburetors are so inexpensive that it's just about not feasible to even try to clean these, but I do want to caution you, when you do want to get these things cleaned up, these posts here that the float pin goes through are made of plastic, and they're really super easy to break. And as you can tell, look at the corrosion on my float pin. Be super careful when you pull that out that you don't break the float arm standoffs. This should not be that hard to get out. It should just slip out by hand. Look at that corrosion. That ethanol is just wreaking havoc on these small engine carburetors. Pull it out, inspect the needle, and as you can tell, this needle has been compromised. I would not reuse this needle. You see the ridge around it where that ethanol has just eaten that rubber. Look at the gum and varnish on the main jet, as well as the emulsion tube. This is like just hard, stuck on varnish. I can't explain it. It's just ridiculous. That's what this fuel is doing. It's eating up everything inside the carburetor. Air bleeds look pretty clear. To remove this needle, what you want to do, you can see the spring. So just push up and out through the bottom. And the installation is the same way. Just push it up through the big portion, compress the spring, and then slide it back, and it's installed. Now here's a screwdriver that I have modified. Most screwdrivers have this area here, and it kind of swells out into a heart shape. Well, with that being said, you can't just put a regular screwdriver down inside of the main jet well. And what I like to do is grind my own screwdriver to fit. I will make this a little bit wider so that it fits the slot in the main jet very tightly. Now this main jet is varnish welded in, and I'm really putting a pookie on it right there. I know you can't really see that I'm actually putting a lot of pressure on this. There it went. Yeah. If your main jet is in there so bad and so gummed up that it takes an impact driver to get it out, I've had to destroy this jet to remove it. An old mechanic taught me a trick one time. You take a Torx bit and you can drive this Torx bit down in here, and it makes its own Torx lands, Torx wings, or whatever you want to call it. It makes its own Torx screw basically, and then you can remove it. As you can tell, that thing was in there super tight. Now it's obvious that I am not going to be rebuilding this carburetor. I'm just showing you the effects of what ethanol is doing to these small engine carburetors. So let's get underneath of here and pull the idle orifice out of here. Now there is a jet inside of this plastic piece here and an O-ring. I just want to show you, and let's look down in there if I can get it out. They should not be this tough to get out. Just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. All right. Just take a look down in here. It's not that bad. If you were to clean this carburetor, you'd want to make sure that that passage was clear. This passage goes through from this air bleed through to the jet, to this Welch plug, to the idle mixture screw, and the transition ports on the carburetor. Right there. You can see the 3 holes. You have basically like a idle, mid throttle, and wide open throttle. And as the butterfly opens up past each port, it gives it more fuel. Simple but effective. The idle jet, as you can tell, has a limit stop. You can only go so far. These caps are glued on. However, you can take a torch or a heat gun and heat these up, and it will unadhere the glue, and you can pull the cap off. And then you can finish unscrewing the screw with a screwdriver slot. Look down in here and make sure it's good and clean. You'd want to blow that out. Let's go ahead and remove the fuel shutoff. And I'll show you how this works. You have a top cover. You have a wave spring to keep pressure down. And below this should just be an O-ring with 3 or 4 holes in it. And look at that corrosion. My goodness, if we didn't clean this or replace this and check this, we would have gotten just that old sandy, silty crap down in our carburetor. Look under there. That is ridiculous, man. And this is something that a lot of mechanics don't check. They'll just say, oh, it's flowing. Yeah, it's flowing all right. Crap right into your carburetor. So definitely we are going to, this one's no good. So we're going to just order a new carburetor. The OEM one's not that expensive. It's like 70 bucks. And I'm gonna tell you what, and I'm not pushing these carburetors, but I have installed several Amazon carburetors that this carburetor is about 16 bucks or cheaper, and they run great. I'm not saying do it, but in my experience, I've done some research and I've put some of these Chinese carburetors from Amazon on some of these engines, and they just freaking work, man. So if you have any questions about Honda carburetors, just let me know. And this happens to all small engine carburetors, not just Honda. You can't let them sit up with fuel in them, people. You gotta run them. You gotta agitate them. You gotta keep fresh fuel in it. And one of the next few videos down the road, we're going to talk about how to winterize correctly so you don't have this issue. But anyway, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Have a good rest of the day. And while you're here, right over here is going to be a little old bell icon that you can click to get all my new videos. Y'all have a good rest of your day. More Medic One.